Peace, family, peace. Yes, we are here on our esoteric time once again, family. Y'all know how it is. Let me do it like that. Let me leave it like that. What's going on, family? Let me know if y'all hear me. Let me know if y'all can see me. And the brother Billy Carson. Billy Carson, welcome back, my brother.
Hey, thank you, man. Good to be back on here after a while. Been traveling around the world.
Yes, definitely. We definitely got to talk about that. Pardon me. Let me know if y'all hear me, family, before we get started. I just want to make sure I'm good to go, loud and clear. All right. Justin, shout out Justin. Shout out everybody in the chat. War Moon, my brother, as always. Knowing is half the battle. Zandra, Kelvin, Barbara Sanders, always showing support. Aisha, all of y'all, thank you for coming out. We filling up the room right now as I speak. Let me before we start, we're gonna have a great show for y'all tonight, man. Great show for y'all tonight. Let me give this. I usually have my thing set up. I don't have it set up right now, but yeah, share the video, y'all. Share the video. Let people know we live. Make sure you hit that like button. Before we start, as always, I want to give a shout out to my brother King Simon, one of the best in the world when it comes to numerology. He will give you a consultation. Just text him your full name and date of birth, and he'll get back to you, let you know what's up. That's my brother right there. Show him support. He has helped me for over a decade with this science right here. So shout out to that brother right there. Also, shout out to my son making noise as usual. And shout out to Copper Child Mike L with the crowns. Always represent. His information will be in the description. I've been forgetting. I'm sorry, Mike. Don't get at me, Mike, but I'm on. His information will be in the description, as well as King Simon. All right, family. Let's get started with this show.
Yeah,
it's an amazing title, Billy. The Vatican Library Heist.
Oh
man, the library heist. I was talking to Billy. Billy just got back from Egypt, y'all, and he's gonna share some amazing information that hasn't really been seen yet when it comes to Egypt, or heard yet when it comes to Egypt. But we're just getting a sneak peek because he's going to premiere it on his Forbidden Knowledge TV platform. But I appreciate whatever he could share with the family. I told him, listen, share as much as you can. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk about a lot of good things, but the Vatican, it's all going to be tied in together. To start out with, my brother, before we get started, I know you're excited. You was telling me about the Forbidden Knowledge, the shares. Could you tell the people what exactly is going on with that before we get started with the Egypt? Because once we get started with that, I know you're going to go off. But what's going on with that, my brother? Congratulations, by the way. Let me know what's up with that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so the SEC approved Forbidden Knowledge Inc. To sell 1,070,000 shares in the first round of funding, and so we are now able to sell shares to the public in what they call a private offering. It's called a Reg CF. And so the shares are available. You can go to forbiddenknowledge.com, click on invest, and you can go straight to the platform. You can read about our valuation. All the documents and paperwork can be downloaded. All the regulations can be downloaded. You can buy shares via the website right online, True Crowd. It'll take you right to that location. And it's a phenomenal ground for opportunity. I mean, you're talking about like Microsoft, like Tesla, like when Bitcoin was $5. It's the same exact opportunity because it's already a profitable corporation. And underneath Forbidden Knowledge, it's, of course, the TV network, which is the streaming TV network, is already profitable in just 1 year. You're talking about the book publishing company, which now has 2 bestsellers and 2 more books getting ready to be released this year, and 8 more beginning of next year. We have of course, the music and global distribution, over 340 songs, and that's on TV shows, documentaries, movies, scores, and of course, then the regular streaming platforms. And then the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast Network, which is already generating now earning profits. And of course, the e-commerce from the website. So it's this umbrella that's got all these different aspects to it. The valuation came in at over 20 million. We dialed it back to 20 million on the valuation for the official number. That way people can afford to buy the shares in the first round. When the The second round starts in about 60 to 90 days. The people from the first round, their shares will already have more value. They'll be premium shares. And by the third round, the first and second round people will have super premium. And then the ultimate goal is to go to the stock exchange and get a stock ticker for BK on the stock market, taking forbidden knowledge all the way to the mainstream. Because why? Because this information should be common knowledge. We should be talking about this kind of stuff all the time instead of having to hop on back channels and side channels and whispers and everything else. I want what we already talked about, the stuff that they're talking about that's normal, that should be abnormal, the garbage out there, and the normal stuff that we talk about every single night. And that's what my goal is.
It's powerful, powerful. In the chat room, family, I just posted the link where you could purchase some shares and join the movement and become an investor. So click on that link I just posted and you'll get more information with that. But yeah, man, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
I remember when you first started Forbidden Knowledge. It hasn't been long, bro. You put in work, bro. You put in work, man.
A lot of work, man. A lot of work. To really get it to where it's at, people have no idea how much, blood, sweat, and tears and personal finances it took, to get it to this point. Even running people think, I could just pop up my own streaming TV network until they get into it and realize, the fees, just getting the apps live is going to cost you $50,000, on all the different networks. And then keeping it up and running and the admin and the customer service and the programmers and the app developer. I mean, it's just a lot. It's a lot, man. And I'm fortunate to be able to have done it and gotten to this point. We've, usually a lot of streaming platforms don't pass the first year. We're now, I think, in our 14th month and already in a profitable position, and the company has no debt. And so I want to find a way how can I help create millionaires in a way where it doesn't hurt me? And because a lot of times we see these people, these big time icons and these big famous people that become these millionaires and billionaires, and everybody's always going, man, they're not, they didn't do anything for us. Well, now I'm doing something for the people. This opportunity is a chance here that you can, help build some legacy for yourself by getting involved with knowledge in the early stages. So, I'm trying to break that generational curse where we say, okay, well, let's come up together and give everybody an opportunity to get a piece of the action.
Indeed. Once again, family, man, hey, click on that link to get more information on how to get shares in Forbidden Knowledge TV. Awesome, man. You just came back from Egypt, man. We're excited to hear you was out there for a while. You posted some amazing video and pictures on Instagram. Yeah. So tell me what was going on out there, brother. We want to know, especially the melanated man and woman here in America is very intrigued about what's in those temples. So talk to me, brother. What's happening over there?
And it's amazing. It was a long trip. Basically I was gone for about 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. I went to almost every temple, pyramid, and ancient site or spiritual site you can think of. I've been to all of them there, and this trip for me was to be able to go back and capture a lot of high quality video footage so I could put it on Forbidden Knowledge TV. I wanted the high quality 4K content. I had been there before, but just the quality of the camera systems back then were not that good. Now with the amazing work of cell phones having 4K quality, you put a cell phone on a dongle or on a gimbal and you don't have the bouncing motion. It's like using a real professional camera, capturing it all in 4K. When you use it with the phone, which is the Samsung Galaxy Note 20, films in 8K and 4K, then you don't have to worry about getting approved for, it takes 1 year to get approved to bring a camera crew to Egypt. So you can bypass all of that foolishness and you can just go out there and do your thing, So it was great. And to be able to go back to the Great Pyramid, going into a new entrance into the Great Pyramid, I was able to confirm one of my theories about the Queen's Chamber this time. And I can see how where the Nile would run underneath the Great Pyramid, some of that water was channeled into the Queen's Chamber area, which is below the King's Chamber. The Queen's Chamber is down, the King's Chamber is higher. Analyzing the structure of the Queen's Chamber, I now know, in my personal opinion, that it's a hydrogen extractor. It extracts hydrogen atoms. I think that's what it is.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Why would they want to do that?
Yeah, so it's very important. Okay, so right now in modern times, what we do is when we want to communicate or try to find communication with advanced civilizations in space, we keep transmitting from Earth on the hydrogen frequency because astrophysicists believe it's the most widely used frequency in the universe. Now, what's interesting about the Great Pyramid, it's got these shafts that point out towards star systems. It's pointing at Aldebaran, it's pointing at Orion, it's pointing at Sirius, all these various different star systems, right, on particular alignments. Now, what's interesting about this alignment and these shafts is that I believe that when the water is running through the Queen's chamber and through the process of electrolysis, extracting the hydrogen atoms, I think it shoots the hydrogen atoms through those shafts. But they, in some way that I don't know, they encode information like we do on the hydrogen frequency and communicating with star systems. Like they're just sending information, maybe an update, a status report, whatever it is, back to these home planets. So I believe that it was not only was a Great Pyramid a power plant, but I also believe now it was a communications device amongst things.
Can't they just communicate through meditation with their mind to these other civilizations? Quantum entanglement?
It's possible. I'm not ruling it out. I'm just thinking that from a lot of the things I've seen with what has been left behind, it seems like they were not only spiritual beings, but they also used a lot of technology. They even had a technology encoded into their own bodies. They were almost kind of, transhumanism type beings in a lot of ways. And so I really do believe that they were using technology. Now, this is a very ingenious way of sending communications and data. It may be easier to just encode an update of information on a hydrogen beam and let it ride all the way to Sirius versus sitting there and meditating and trying to make it hit its, its target or whatever. So I think it's a strong possibility, at least.
That's very interesting, man. Wow.
Yeah.
So it's through hydrogen. Okay, wow. Now that's dope. Let me see what the people in the chat saying about that. What y'all think about that? That makes sense. Theta wave amplifier.
Yeah, that's possible as well. You can maybe sit in a certain particular range or area and meditate and utilize that to enhance or increase the vibration, the frequency going out, the brain waves going out. There's so many different potential uses of being able to extract hydrogen atoms. But that's just one theory that I have, since you got to look that it's pointing directly at these star systems, and what better way to communicate from light years away than to transmit something from the Great Pyramid through those shafts on the hydrogen frequency. A lot of the times I think that what we claim is now being a new discovery on our end and we start utilizing, I think these scientists just go look at ancient stuff and go, oh yeah, let's do what they did. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think they do.
What else you seeing? What else?
What was interesting is I did a workshop with Robert Edward Grant about 3 months ago about the secrets of the pyramids. And he showed me some interesting things that he had noticed inside the King's chamber. So when I went into the King's chamber this time, I was looking for those things. And I found on the granite walls inside the King's chamber, if you get in the right angle, you can see where there are these slightly raised etchings of the bull. You can see the Omega symbol. You can see the Omega symbol etched into the top of the coffer, the stone box that's inside of there. That box, again, I reconfirmed for myself, that box is the exact dimensions of the Ark of the Covenant. And so that box, in my personal opinion, is not a sarcophagus. And every sarcophagus that I've ever seen for a pharaoh has been super massive. Never anything that tiny and not decorative at all. I think that stone box was added. Now, when I look at the stone box, and I've got a picture to show you, you can see where energy surge blew part of it off. And it went all the way across the room and it actually hit, and you can see where it impacted the other side of the granite across the room. And so that leads me to believe that that room at some point was filled with an enormous amount of energy. And there was a spike in energy at some point, which shoved that giant piece of the corner of it off and flung it halfway across the room. It's pretty interesting stuff. Now, I did see the Omega insignia for Alpha and Omega embossed into that stone coffer box rim, which is interesting. So some of the stuff that we had talked about that Robert Grant had said he saw, now I saw it as well. It's there. So it's pretty interesting. It's nobody ever talked about this on any documentaries, any TV shows. Nobody ever really noticed that there are 3 different, at least that I've seen now, etchings in the granite, these megalithic granite stone walls inside the King's Chamber, and that Omega symbol etched into the lid or etched into the rim of the stone box. Pretty interesting. So again, now you can see the energy signature. We know that room, I believe that room at one point was filled with a lot of energy. My theory for putting the Ark of the Covenant there, that box looks like it was added to the Great Pyramid much later. Like it wasn't built with the pyramid. So my theory is that that box was put there and the Ark of the Covenant was put there because the pyramid had long since been broken. There a piece or in some way it was broken. Once the Nile started shifting away from the pyramid from Giza, as it drifted away from Giza, the pyramid was generating less and less power. If you put that Ark of the Covenant in there, which was a power generator, we know it was operated as a condenser. Some professors in America at a university reproduced it based on the biblical account, and it produced so much energy they had to shut it down. So we know that it creates a lot of energy. So I think that they put it in that spot as a capacitor to increase the power surge, to keep the power flowing through the apex, which the energy, as my Egyptologist confirmed while I was there, the obelisk would capture this wireless energy, and it was like a wireless light pole system. It would just transfer from obelisk to obelisk, and then whoever had a jet pillar, they can actually catch that ambient energy, and they can then utilize it for gold electroplating and whatever else they use electricity for back then. And we know that the Egyptians did gold electroplate millions of tons of gold. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm. This is some interesting stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's powerful. It was a great trip. One of the best trips I've had in a long time. It was very strenuous, though. Finally got a chance to get into the Bent Pyramid. The Bent Pyramid has been closed for 25 to 27, either 25 or 27 years. I think it was really 27, but 2 of those years, people were able to go in to set some things up and to install a pump to try to drain some water. But the Bent Pyramid, in my opinion, again, is not bent. What they'll tell you, mainstream Egyptologists will tell you that it's bent. In other words, it goes up an angle, then it goes into a much shallower angle to meet at the apex. They will tell you that it was an accident, that, they were trying to experiment on how to build pyramids and they got the angle wrong, so they decided to just go shallow at the top. No. That pyramid was built like that on purpose. As a matter of fact, that pyramid is extremely similar to the Pyramid of the Moon in Teotihuacan in terms of its actual shape and the way that the apex kind of goes shallow at the top. If you look at the Pyramid of the Moon side by side with the Bent Pyramid, they're twins, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, they're twins. So it was built like that specifically on purpose. Thoth built the pyramids at Giza, or at least he was the architect of them. He didn't physically build them with his hands. And then he was also the architect of the pyramids at Teotihuacan. And that's why the pyramids at Teotihuacan have the same Orion alignment. The Pyramid of the Sun is the same exact base size and dimension as the base of the Great Pyramid at Giza. And the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan is exactly 50% the height of the Great Pyramid at Giza. So obviously indicating to us there's several things. It's the same exact architectural master who gave the plans for both of these sites. It's pretty interesting. But the Bent Pyramid is not what people think. The Bent Pyramid is a diagnostics tool. Okay, a supermassive diagnostic tool. So from one of my own mentors, an Egyptologist who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago, he grew up there. He used to play in the tunnels underneath the pyramids when he was a kid. This is how, he's like an 8th generation pyramid family. But the Bent Pyramid was a diagnostic tool. So when somebody had a broken bone, an injury, or some type of illness, they would be sent, if they had the ability to, if they had enough money, they would be sent to the Bent Pyramid. The Bent Pyramid had several chambers in which I explored all of them. inside, and one of them would resonate. And so they would hit it with some type of a mallet. It would resonate this area. That resonance would reciprocate throughout all these different chambers. And there are a lot of them because I climbed 1.5 miles in the pyramid. And then the person will be sitting in this area almost underneath the top apex. And then the physician would be looking from the very top, looking down, and it would create this holographic X-ray, so to speak, of the person's body from resonance. And they can analyze and see what injury or what illness or whatever this person in particular had. And so the bent pyramid is a mind-blowing pyramid. I had to crawl on my toes and my hands because I couldn't put my knees down for 1.5 miles throughout that entire pyramid, all kind of twists and turns in 4x4 spaces, 3x3 spaces. You know, if I weighed another 20 pounds, I wouldn't have been able to even do it. It was excruciating, and it was pretty brutal. Yeah.
Wow. Now, what you're saying about this holographic X-ray, has this been talked about before, or is this
Nobody's talked about it. Yeah, this is all new stuff, man.
This is all new stuff here.
All new stuff.
A holographic X-ray. Wow.
It's a diagnostic tool. He told me that about maybe 4.5, 5 years ago. It's a diagnostic tool. And it's you know, you would go in there to get diagnostics, and they'd be able to see inside of your body through sound resonance. And the way these chambers were set up in there, I now totally believe it. The shafts that I had to crawl through, it moves sound and frequencies in different directions. Those shafts are so tiny because they're not made for people. They're made for sound waves, frequencies, and also even power, electricity, or other forms of energy that they can transfer between chamber to chamber. And the chambers are extremely acoustic as well, very, very acoustic. And even in one area, it felt like air conditioning was on. Deep in the pyramid, all of a sudden, there was this breeze of wind and air coming, and it was cool air. It had to be at least 20 degrees cooler than outside. It was incredible.
Damn, man. So, like, how did your voice sound? Like, did you try to echo your voice? Did you try to see if your voice traveled a certain way?
When you're in certain areas and you talk, you can hear that sound. You can hear that, you can hear that echo. So it's like you can see there's resonance there. If you were to make some high-pitched noises, you could tell you would get a resonance. Now, we didn't want to do it because there were bats in there. So
right.
You don't want to have the bats, there's nowhere to run. You know what I'm saying? So, if you have, they told us there were bats in there before we went in. And we did see some and record some in there. But if I could only imagine if there was 100 bats and we start making all this noise and they start coming at us, they're going to hit you right in the face because there's nowhere for you to go. You know what I'm saying? There's nowhere to duck. These channels are so narrow. I got a video to show you guys, of me climbing through some of these.
You a little earlier, you mentioned about the ancient Egyptians merging with a technology. Somebody want to know, what technology did they merge with, do you think?
Well, they had several kinds. I believe that they had something that could enhance their brain waves. In other words, they would actually have something that they could put on so that their thought power was more powerful. In other words, give them telekinesis, moving things, lifting things by thought. Also, they had something called the tablets. It's called the Tablet of Destinies, the Tablets of Destiny and the Sumerian tablets. They also had those, you can see that they had those same exact tablets had made their way, or the knowledge of them had made their way into Egypt, ancient Egypt, land of Kemet, before it was Egypt. And so these tablets had information on them. They even had battle routines and all this information about star systems and other people and all this stuff. It was said whoever had their possession of these tablets would control the galaxy. That's how powerful they supposedly were. Now, these tablets had information. I believe that these beings would have this. We have a device we just invented, we meaning a student at Harvard invented about 4 years ago. It sits right behind the bone and the ear. Okay, so it doesn't sit in the ear, but it sits right behind the bone. And then it wraps around and it just kind of sits right on the frontal lobe right here. And you can ask him any question that exists, you can ask him. Doesn't matter what it is. He thinks what about the question you asked him, he asked Google through this device without moving his mouth. The answer then comes by vibration to the bone right behind his ear, and he can hear it in his head, and he can give you then spit back the answer. So no matter what you ask him, as long as it's on Google, he can give you the answer to that. Okay, so imagine in ancient times, these people were revered as gods. I believe that they had access to this type of technology. I really do. Looking at some of the depictions, looking at, I don't have the artifact out. There's an artifact that I have with a similar device being worn, okay, over the head and right behind the ear. Maybe I'll show that on the next show because I have to go dig for it now. But it's amazing. I believe that they had this technology, and that's just one example of it. Also, you can see a lot of them that have these devices on their wrist. It almost looks like they have wristwatches. What were these for? You know, they're always holding the handbag, and I think that the handbag had technology inside of it. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but these gods are the only ones that were allowed to walk around with these bags that had this stuff inside of them. And then they also had these things around their legs. They had these specific outfits that they would wear. I mean, Inanna, I have a replica of an Inanna statue in here, and she's got this incredible outfit on it. It looks very technological. And then she even has on these big goggles over her eyes. So, you know, it's really amazing. I think that they had technology to enhance them for flight, for fighting, for knowledge, for whatever. I think they just had this technology. I really do believe it.
I think me and you and Blue Pill talking on the phone, we're talking about how to merge technology with our clothing, and I think that's part of the future.
Yeah,
our clothing is going to be an aspect. It's going to have an aspect of technology to it, to enhance our technology or whatever. So I mean, wow, that's interesting. You got any videos or anything you can show us, man?
Yeah, I got a little something for you, man. Let me
that sounds amazing.
Right quick and give y'all a quick look at a couple things here. Let me see. Screen.
Shout out to the sister Karain. I seen you in the chat. Shout out Karain. Yes, it is Virgo season. Really, you a Virgo too, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a Virgo.
We got two Virgos in the building, y'all. Virgo season is here.
Yeah, man.
All right, Virgo love. Yeah. Shout out to Cafunia. Oh, before we go to that, Billy, show the people. Shout out to Cafunia. Show them the books, man. You just came back from Egypt and you got the books, man. Shout out to everybody who supported and purchased my mother. Yo, look at this, man. Now this is what I'm talking about. Hold on, I gotta put him on the solo. Hold on. Now that's powerful, man.
Hey, man, I gotta support, man. I gotta support, brother. You know,
that's powerful, man.
I bought 20 copies of the book. You know, Kayla Petey and the Forest. This is written by Adrian Merritt and Tiffany Merritt. You know.
Indeed.
I got these, man, and the reason why I bought 20, people are like, why'd you buy 20? Well, because I want to hand these to people, to young children. When I go give them their book bags and everything. A lot of young Black kids, they don't see themselves usually inside of comic books and reading books and children's books. So I want to give them a book. I'm going to give away 20 books.
That's dope, man. I appreciate it. Everybody who got copies of the book, I appreciate it. Cafunia, I know you got a couple of copies. I appreciate that as well. If you would like your copy of an amazing children's book, the link will be in the description as well. Or you could just go to Amazon and type in the name Kayla Petey in the Forest by Adrian Merritt, Tiffany Merritt, and then it'll come up either or. But I appreciate everybody who supported. All right. And I see a couple of people like, yo, I got it too. I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Nice.
From the bottom of my heart, y'all. Show me some of them images, Billy, from Egypt.
Let me go back to the share screen again.
Yeah.
And share with some audio. Okay. Let's see which one we got here. Share. Okay.
All right.
Slideshow. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a crystal clear photo, man. Whew.
That's a video.
Okay. Damn.
That's 4K.
Damn. Yeah, that's clear.
Yeah.
Y'all see that? Oh shit.
crystal clear. This is the new content I got coming to Forbidden Knowledge TV.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I'm here with an Egyptologist named Samuel Ramsey.
Yeah.
And I'm standing at the Temple of Hatshepsut and just trying to learn a lot more about the women, because I'm gonna do a whole special series about the women of Egypt, like Queen Taye, Hatshepsut, Cleopatra, and all these other women that were there. What time periods? Where did they hail from? How did they get there? Were they born there? All that information. Nefertari, Queen Nefertari, Nefertiti. I mean, all these women, I want to talk about them. And so I went to the Temple of Hatshepsut, which was her temple that she built. She was actually her husband died. Basically, he was a pharaoh, and she convinced the people that her father wasn't her blood father, her birth father wasn't really her blood father, but that she was part God, and that she had the blood of the gods in her, because her mother had basically had sex with a god and had her. So, and the people believed it. They let her rule for 20 years off of that. So she came up, but she did a lot of great things, and she ruled over Egypt. So it's just really interesting to see how women came into power in deep antiquity, when it was not even thought of that a woman would be in power in this particular region. And so she did it, and others had done it as well. And she did a phenomenal job. She brought that feminine energy that was needed, and she made a lot of improvements to Egypt in a lot of ways that the other warring kings just couldn't see. So it was pretty cool. So I learned a lot about that here. I'm sitting here with the amazing Egyptologist here, Samuel Ramsey. Here I'm at Saqqara, just walking up towards these amazing temples, man. You can see the step pyramid in the background.
Right.
The step pyramid is open now. It was just open for the first time, and I happened to arrive right when it opened. It has been closed for decades, 17 years, I believe it was closed.
Wow.
17 years. So I got to go inside. I got to go all the way to look down into the chambers in there and everything else. It's pretty amazing. This temple right here is made out of soundproof stone. What were they doing here? Just kind of skip through because these are long videos. I'm here with another Egyptologist, Shahenda Adel. She's another phenomenal Egyptologist. She's one of the most famous Egyptologists right now in Egypt. And she's a big fan of Forbidden Knowledge. She's been already watching my stuff, subscribed to the channel. And it was so cool to see me accepted like that. So many people there knew who I was and couldn't wait to take a picture with me. These are Egyptologists.
Wow.
They were born here. She's a 5th generation pyramid Egyptologist. So it was just it was amazing to see that, man. She was like, Forbidden Knowledge, I've been following you for a long time, and stuff like, what? Oh my God. Yeah, she's like, I love your work. We love your, everything you teach. I'm like, wow, incredible. And so here we are walking towards the step pyramid. I'm gonna show you a picture when we get down inside of this thing. Well, this is the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid. Let me stop right here. So you see this big chunk in the corner here?
Yeah.
Okay, that piece flew off and went all the way across the room and impacted the granite on the other side and left the exact dent, showing you, it's the corner piece that came off of here. Now, what can do that? That's solid granite. Okay, this is solid granite. What can snap solid granite and make it fly across maybe 20 yards and impact the wall so hard that it's granite that left a dent in the exact shape? So we're talking about energy. This is an energy signature. Something happened there very energetic that caused that created this to happen. This is not, somebody just broke the piece off or the piece wore off over time. No, something powerful happened here that created a lot of energy that came from within that square box, which sent that granite across the room and impact the wall over there. In these walls that you see here around me, if you get in the right angle with the right lighting, you can see different stuff in the walls that were left behind by the people that built these, this King's Chamber. Bulls, you know, the Bull of Heaven, which really normally leads to the Pleiadian star system. And of course, in the rim on this box, there is a Omega symbol as well, which is pretty interesting. Another thing that's interesting that we found with Robert Edward Grant is that this room, this King's Chamber, is the exact dimensions of the Last Supper drawn by Da Vinci in terms of the scale. If you scale down this room, you can get the Last Supper to fit directly into this room. And then you begin to see different elements from the Last Supper artwork that match these different glyphs that are now, and we know, are embedded into the granite rock inside the King's Chamber. How in the world did Da Vinci do that? We don't know. It's really incredible. If you look at this granite around me, you still can't put a human hair in between these cracks. Okay, and you got to remember, I'm not at ground level now. I've climbed up through the Grand Gallery, so I could be, I don't know how many feet up now, maybe 100 feet up. And these super megalithic granite blocks, which each weigh, I don't know, 15, 20 tons a piece, are all up here in this area. And they don't even have any mortar in between the stone. It's just all fitted together perfectly, as if it was made there. It's incredible. You can see how they kind of even overlap in different angles and ways. So it's not like they were just stacked bricks. These things were cut specifically to fit in these exact positions that they're sitting in. It's really amazing. Amazing stuff. I'm in front of the Red Pyramid right here. The Red Pyramid also open now. And I was able to go inside the Red Pyramid. It's super massive and very, very challenging. I did about a half a mile inside the Red Pyramid. Here's the Bent Pyramid here. The Bent Pyramid has been open to the public in 26 years. So we're very windy out there. I didn't want to mic up on this one. This is a raw one I just did off my phone. Inside of the Bent Pyramid, I'd like to see if we can find any evidence of chambers that are large enough to resonate with water that may have filled it in ancient times. They 4 million knowledge. I'm inside of the State Pyramid. It's an amazing pyramid that's been closed for about 25 years. They've been fixing it, refurbishing it on the outside, making it safe to come inside. It's incredible. Coming in here, I had to duck down to get to this section. And here, there's a drop-off that goes down about 60 meters. Way down there, guys. It's incredible. There's stairs coming up from the angle over there. There's gigantic megalithic blocks in here and wood inside the stone. You got to come to my Egypt tour next year, 2022 October. So here I am now. You can see I'm descending into the Bent Pyramid here. You can see I've got to stay on my toes and my hands because you can't put your knees down on that stuff. You tear your knees up.
Your back is still in those sections,
And it's dangerous. That's all I can tell you. It's really dangerous, man. You got to take your time. You gotta have a strong grip. And on this side, you can see, you know,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's getting. Well, you can see my buttocks right there. I'm trying to get through a turn. It was, there's so many twists and turns in there, and they get smaller and slipperier and more intricate and hard to navigate. Turning that corner there was going into a much smaller one. I almost had to crawl on my belly. It was crazy.
Damn, bro.
Yeah. So here I am, stop for a quick selfie inside of one of these chambers, shafts inside the pyramid. And here I am now inside of the tomb of Nefertari.
That's a beautiful tomb there, man.
Beautiful, super beautiful. You
Wow.
see the dead pillars, one on my left, one on my right.
Yeah.
Technology, the symbol of power and energy and wireless frequencies. And one of the most beautiful tombs out there, man.
Wow.
Yeah, every single one of those stars in the ceiling that represent the Milky Way galaxy is hand-etched, hand-carved into the stone inside this tomb. This is, you gotta remember, these tombs are carved out of the side of like rock, out of the side of a mountain,
Yeah.
And so you have to know how to use it. You have to have some kind of way to understand where you're going with your cuts, and you need to understand the material you're working with to prevent collapse. This is like an intricate thing to build these amazing tombs. This is, it's just mind blowing how they did this stuff, and it's just really, it just blows me away. Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Queens. You have to go there and see. If you're 5 centimeters off when you begin cutting into one of these things, you can't create the elaborate tomb. And some of these tombs are super, super duper elaborate with false areas that you can go to trick tomb robbers into thinking they were at the end and all kind of crazy stuff. It's super elaborate, man. And this cutting type of a technique that they use to do this is, I think, far superior than what we have today. And you can see the amazing colors are still here. And there's no soot in the ceiling. You don't see any dark soot from any torches. There's no lantern soot from when they had to do all this painting. Why is there no soot? Because guess what? If you're underground in these chambers and these tombs, you can't light fires. Because first of all, the fire would eat the oxygen, number one. Number two, the fire would destroy the art you're trying to create. So they had light bulbs down here. They had light bulbs. That's how they did it, with electricity and light bulbs, which are depicted at Dendera. In the underground crypt at Dendera, they depict the light bulbs, and I showed it on my Instagram account. Here I'm in Abu Simbel. Notice the size of Ramses compared to the size of the people. You see Ramses here, King Ramses. He built this temple in his own honor. The guy had a big ego. Conquered a lot of places. He conquered the Nubians. He conquered the Asians. He enslaved them. And this is not Greeks or anything else. This is old dynasty. This is second dynasty, I think it was. This is old. There was a lot of crazy stuff going on back then. It wasn't exactly the time as we think it was. If you weren't a politician or a quote unquote god, pharaoh or related to the pharaoh, then you had to walk around butt naked. Damn. Yeah, you had to walk around butt naked. You were just a regular person. You had to walk around naked. You know why you had to walk around naked? What's amazing about the temple? You didn't steal from the king. The temple is everywhere you went, you had to show, your ass was out, so then you didn't steal anything. This temple has the same exact construction technique as the Lalibela temples that are located in Ethiopia and the Kailash temple located in India. All three of these temples, the Abu Simbel temple, Lalibela, and Kailash, were all carved out of a solid stone mountain from the outside going in. What that means is, if you start from the outside with your cutting tool, if you're off by 5 centimeters when you begin, you cannot carve out the interior with precision. And the interior of this structure is carved to so much precision that at the 21st of October and the 21st of, I believe, March, the sun comes right in through the solstice and illuminates the gods in the back. So it has an alignment there. So you must have everything working perfectly. You have to have the right tools. You have to have the right architectural plan to be able to develop and actually excavate this stone in a way that allows you to carve out elaborate rooms and even create elaborate reliefs inside of those rooms. Okay. Walking towards the Holy of Holies there. That probably was the end of that clip there. But it's a lot of amazing stuff. Now, before we get back to the regular talk, this is another amazing thing. This one I can't play the video because this video is very exclusive. But this stone right here that you're looking at, this granite box, is super massive. You're only seeing one side of it. It weighs 140 tons. 140 tons, the top and the bottom together. It's not for a human being. This is I'm standing inside the halls of Amenti, and I'm inside of one of the alcoves of Amenti. Where you see my hand, you see that bent granite there? Yeah. That granite is bent and warped like it was metal, like it was heated metal. There's nothing that you can do, and part of my show is going to be, I'm talking to metallurgists, and I'm also talking to people that work with stonemasons. there's nothing you can do to warp granite like this and bend it and mold it like this. You can't without breaking it. This is a result of an energy signature that altered the atomic structure of the granite. And there's something directly in front of this, but you can't see it because it's behind me. It's going directly in a straight line away from that warped granite, which to me is evidence of a portal. Right where the portal opens up, the energy hit this granite right here and created this warped granite. This right here, you see those rectangles etched into this box?
Yeah.
They go all the way around. The Egyptologists have all concurred. This is not my saying, this is them, that those are the stargates, representing stargates. And this is the only one that has the stargates etched into it all the way around. This one has, I think, 13 stargates on it, etched into it on this particular one. And so each one of those, there's a very similar stargate reminiscent in the Sumerian cylinder scroll, if you remember it, where Enlil is walking through a gate that looks just like these, square with the multiple rectangles overlapping each other. And that's in the Sumerian tablets. And he walks through these gates. They call it a Du-Ran Ki, a bond heaven earth, and it allows him to walk from Earth directly to his home planet. Pretty interesting stuff. So this box is the only unique one. First of all, it weighs the most out of all of them. It's got this warped granite, which is evidence of a subatomic modification that happened to the material itself. And it's sitting directly in front of what looks like a portal opening. And I got inside of this thing. And as soon as I got inside of it, I felt different. I climbed up and, the priest there's a priest that guards this place. He let me inside of it. Of course, I gave him a couple of dollars, which made him smile. But he helped me climb up and get inside of it. And as soon as you get inside of this thing, you feel totally different. That's all I can tell you. You feel totally different. This is amazing. This is amazing, guys. This is groundbreaking stuff. I can't wait to get this footage out. This is gonna be stuff. Yeah.
Yo, this just woke up my. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm look. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just showing you these. On the left-hand side, you can see the halls. This is a split image. These are the halls. This is the halls of Amenti right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Each one of those openings in the hall leads to alcoves, and each one of those alcoves has either 100 to 130 ton, what looks like a sarcophagus, but they're not sarcophagus. There's no bodies in them. They're part of a technological system.
Yo, this footage definitely awakened something in my DNA, yo. This is ground. Like, wow. I'm honored to have this show, family. I'm glad I could show y'all this on my channel. Y'all see where y'all seeing this, man? Listen, this is why, Billy. This is why y'all need to get shares in Forbidden Knowledge TV. This dude about to blow up. Billy Carson about to blow up. Y'all see this? Yo, Billy, you about to blow up, bro. When you release this,
yeah, this is huge. This is big stuff. Like, you're only looking at a fraction. You don't even get. I mean, this is. I have 600 gigabytes of 4K footage. So it's gonna be amazing, man. I can't wait. I'm so excited, and I'm going back again in March, and I'm going back again in October. October is my own tour that I'm doing specifically. That'll be October. I'm taking 50 people back to Egypt. I'll be the tour guide along with 2 Egyptologists, 1 armed guard, and we're gonna rent a bus, and we're gonna go into some of these places, and I'm gonna take some people there firsthand and let them see this stuff, let them smell it, let them touch it. It's amazing. Yeah.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
So. When you were in these temples or pyramids, did you see anything that any images, or you know how a lot of the melanated people in America, we feel as though we're the descendants of ancient Kemet. Anything to affirm that, or anything to make us speculate even further? What did you see concerning that?
Oh yeah, I went and saw the mummies. I mean, there's evidence. of that. You know, the original people that started out in Kemet were Black people. I mean, that's, you know, even the Egyptologists, they all agree. There's no doubt. Now, unfortunately, Egypt kept achieving these golden ages, and in these many golden ages, for some reason, when you reach a golden age, you just kind of, I don't want to have a military now all of a sudden. Or my military is not trained that well because we're too busy doing arts and crafts and exploring the universe and, you know, looking at the stars and stuff like that. And so they get overtaken. So Egypt had been overthrown 7 times. Everybody had a chance over there. Like everybody came in. The Dogons were there first. They then got ousted from Kemet and had to go live in Mali, Africa. And then after that, you had the Olive Egyptians, which ruled for some period. And then you had Persians come in. You had Syrians come in. You had Greeks come in. You had Romans come in. You had Arabs come in. I mean, everybody came and left their own stamp and, of course, made it with everybody, changing the overall tone of the skin and everything else there. But over thousands and thousands of years, it kept changing hands over and over again. It wasn't always, you know, all Black. There was a period where Black came back during the time of Akhenaten. So you had Amenhotep III, you had Queen Tiye and Amenhotep III were Black. And then you had Akhenaten, who was the son of them. And then you had, from Akhenaten, he gave birth, well, nobody knows exactly who the brother was, but he had given birth to a son, and his son was King Tut, King Tutankhamun. And so all of them were dark Black, darker than me, okay? So you had that line, that lineage of Black people ruling in that particular period of time for a while, because you had Amenhotep III, Queen Tiye, who ruled for a period of time also. You had Akhenaten, who ended up getting kicked out of Egypt because he was trying to usher in monotheism. He was trying to bring in a one God mindset. In other words, these other people were not to be worshipped anymore, these other gods. He's the one who actually started ordering the faces to be chipped off. He's the one who kind of really, other pharaohs were doing it because when they took over in their kingship, they wanted to take away a little bit of the rep of some of the other ones, but they would usually only chip out the cartouches in different temples and put their name in there. This guy, Akhenaten, he was like, chip away everything, take everything down. So he started that off. And then as this monotheistic idea kind of caught on, even after they kicked him out of Egypt, the Coptic Christianity started coming in. And then the Coptic Christians during the era of the Romans started, the pharaohs had been long gone and abandoned the whole area. And the Coptic Christians moved into all these ancient temples and stuff. And then while they were in there, they thought it was offensive to their God that these quote unquote Neturu were in there, etched into the walls and all these hieroglyphs. So they started chipping them away. So the Christians chipped away about 80% of the stuff. Did that. Then the Arabs came in last. The last ones to come in and take over were the Arabs. They came in and they literally beat, raped, killed, murdered millions of Christians, Coptic Christians. This is well known, documented there. And on top of that, they even forced them to stop speaking Egyptian and start speaking Arabic. That's how they started speaking Arabic. Egyptians, they're not Arabic. They're speaking Arabic now. Kind of like how Mexicans aren't really Latinos. They're Mayans, but now they speak Spanish. Same exact system happened there. So it's pretty interesting to see this. How this all happened. So I'm really documenting a real good time scale of who was where, who ruled during this period of time, where did they come from, how was that overthrown? I'm putting together this whole series just on what happened in Egypt in terms of who took power when and how come they lost it and everything else. So that's one whole series, just the power struggle over there. Yeah, Black people were there. Black people ruled over Egypt for quite some time. Even when they were ruling over Egypt, though, I got to tell you, the poor people still had to walk around naked. So, yeah, you had 3 levels of language in the ancient times. In the Kemet days, you had the poor man's language, which was the basic Egyptian. You had the politician language right above that, which the politics had a slightly different language that the poorer people couldn't learn, but the politicians could learn both. And then you had the language of light, which only the Naturu knew, the gods, Thoth and whoever was a pharaoh at the time, but the main ones, though, like Thoth and Osiris and all these people, they had the language of light, and so only the pharaohs and these Naturu can learn that particular language. So they even had everything separated, divided up by languages. And like I said, if you were a poor person, you had to walk around naked so that they knew that you didn't even pluck a plum from the king's orchard or anything. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it was normal for them. I mean, that's how they lived. It was not, out of the ordinary. It was normal living for them. You know what I'm saying? But there was a hierarchy. There was a hierarchy there, and it was very interesting to see this and understand it and digest it and come to terms with it. That it wasn't exactly as I thought. It's a little bit deeper than that.
What do you mean by it wasn't exactly as you thought? What do you mean?
You grow up thinking, I grow up thinking, but you start to learn about Black people ruling over Egypt. And sometimes you get this idea, this fanciful idea that everybody was living,
harmony and peace.
We were all, on the same level. But even though there was a golden age, there was still levels in there, and I guess it's just the way life is, there's levels to everything. You know what I mean? And really up until recently, I had the idea that it was a little bit different, but this time my eyes got opened a little bit more to understanding exactly, the true levels that exist. And it's not good or bad. It's just that there are levels. There were levels that were there. There was, people being enslaved. We were enslaving people. We were enslaving ourselves, but we also were good times and times of grandeur where there was a lot of peace in the land and people were free to explore themselves and learn about things. So it was like this roller coaster ride of this yin and yang, when for this period of time it was phenomenal, then this period of time was kind of harsh and was just kind of all over the place over time, over many thousands of years. So I guess it's pretty much how civilizations are. They just kind of have these rises and falls, these cycles of success and failures over time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, man, that was a hell of a segment right there, man. Wow. I want to thank everybody who donated Cash App. Family, man, if I don't deserve a Cash App for that one, man, god damn. I mean, look what that was powerful, man. Make sure y'all sign up to Forbidden Knowledge TV. When do you think this footage is going to be put on your channel, on your network?
It's going to take a few months to get it all edited and chopped up into different pieces and different segments for different topics, Like I want to do a whole series over the rise and fall of Kemet and the rise and fall of Egypt and who took over when and where they came from. I want to also do a segment on the different temples. I want to do a connection segment where I'm talking about the connection between Egypt and other civilizations around the world. And the similarities between them, does this identify the same architect? And one thing I think people get scared about me is that they think when I say that these beings didn't come from Earth, some of the quote unquote gods, these Naturu, it's not me saying that. I didn't say this. I didn't write this down. It's in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It's in the hieroglyphs in Egypt. So it's not that I'm saying this stuff. It's not me saying, oh, this guy believes that aliens came to Egypt. No, it's not me. I'm reading the hieroglyphs that are now well documented. I'm reading the Egyptian Book of the Dead. There's there's all these works of art that have been left behind by these people. They're telling you this. It's not me telling you this. It's them. And what they're saying is people that don't look like little green men with horns on their heads and antenna, people that look like us and we look like them, were here in the ancient past. Most likely our ancestors, our cousins, whatever you want to call them. I don't think that people are just on Earth. I think that people are human beings, this body type. I think it's everywhere throughout the universe. I think we're all over the place because the more books I read, the more text that I read and research, the more I find people in Pleiadians, people in the Orion, people in Aldebaran, people everywhere. I think there's just people out there. I think that in order to obtain the ability to manipulate your environment, you need a bipedal bilateral avatar body, which is what we have. We're bipedal, which we walk on 2 legs, and we're bilateral. You can slice me in half, you're going to get 2 equal sides. But then we also have these hands. So even though dolphins and killer whales are smarter than humans, and elephants are smarter than humans, IQs are higher and smarter, they can't do anything because they don't have these. They're not bipedal, and they don't have these. If they had these and they were bipedal, we wouldn't be the dominant species on the planet right now. And so because we have these and we have the bipedal ability, we're able to do things that other animals can't do. And that gives us the ability to manipulate our environment, which gives us the ability to move throughout the universe. And so I think that other civilizations that may be 1 million years ahead of us, 2 million years ahead of us, maybe even 100 million years ahead of us, could be our deep ancestors in some way. Because the Aboriginal people, when I went there, just what was that, the beginning of 2020, right before the thing happened, their handed down verbal history is that they were seeded on this planet by Pleiadians, and that's been handed down for thousands of years. That's their history, is that they were brought here by Pleiadians. Interesting.
Very interesting. That leads us to the next segment. We're already at the hour mark. That segment was so powerful. I just wanted you to keep going. But the Vatican.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Vatican for a second. I've always heard that you heard of the Library of Alexandria and they burnt it down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to you on the phone. You say you don't think that's true. You believe that there was a heist that happened and the Vatican took all of that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, this is this is a big story, man. I'm releasing some nuggets on your platform.
No, definitely.
I've been trying to get to Alexandria for a long time. I finally got there, and again, I got a wake up call when I got there because in my brain, I'm thinking of this place that was like, everywhere in Egypt is pretty run down. The average person makes about $100 a month. And there's a lot of people living with no running water, no electricity, no toilets. They steal bricks from these collapsed structures and they just stack them up and move inside of them and put an old sheet over the front of the structure. And they live in them in 120-degree heat. That's how they're living out there. It's pretty hardcore. It's pretty tough. 5-year-old kids, 6-year-old kids working, 10, 15-hour shifts on the streets. Some people even put their kids into prostitution. The economics over there are pretty bad. You remember that collapse we had in Miami, that building that collapsed?
Yes.
They have a collapse like that every day in Egypt. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I've never been to Alexandria. It's about a 4.5-hour drive away from Cairo. Let me see. Maybe it's going to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit more magnificent because the Romans were, had a lot more influence on it. It was newer, basically. So I'm thinking it won't be as ancient as this or whatever. Mm-hmm. I got there, man. It was the same stuff. Buildings look like they've been blown up. Collapses everywhere. Buildings leaning on each other. People living without power. Even the ruins at Alexandria were in bad condition. Like there was no care for the ruins. I was afraid to even walk inside the catacombs. I thought there could be a collapse, I was like, man, this is my life right now going in here. Pretty interesting. But Alexandria in its height was a phenomenal place. It was the place and the location of the Library of Alexandria, which now in that spot is a brand new library. And it's brand spanking new too. It's phenomenal. So they did build a new library there. But at its height, it had some of the most incredible knowledge on earth. One-off books, one-time handwritten books were brought there. If you pull up to the port at Alexandria on a boat, you had to pay a fee. Your fee was books. You had to pay with knowledge. If you visited, you had to pay with knowledge. You couldn't go in without dropping off some knowledge. And so this thing was a wealth of knowledge from all over the world. Information that right now we could use today that probably would change the way we even see, think, and feel about one another was all there. All the greatest philosophers, all the greatest information about ancient technology, it was all there. And I believe that the Arabs, they didn't want to see it anymore. They were trying to take over and dominate, and they were trying to eradicate knowledge. But I really do believe that they were infiltrated by the papacy. And I believe that they had convinced them or maybe even paid them to set up this burning while they heisted these books. There's a little bit more intricate information behind it that I'm working on. Before I just spill it all out, I want to make sure I get it all lined up right. But I really do believe that the books, not all of them, because they had to burn some of them, but the majority of the books with the most incredible content they were stolen. They were taken to the Vatican. They were now in that 5-mile underground archive. The Vatican has 53 miles of shelves underneath it. Think about that. 53 miles of shelves, okay? 35,000 volumes of different catalogs. They have hundreds of thousands of books in there in the Vatican. Hundreds of thousands. Let me just show you. I'm gonna go back to my share screen. I'm gonna show you guys a quick photo, real quick, of some of these books. Let me go back. How do I get like this thing on share screen? Real quick. Window. You see these? These are gold mine. Each one of these books is priceless. Each one of these is a priceless book. These are one-offs, you know, maybe first edition, 2 copies, 3 copies exist in the world. Some are handwritten that probably took 3 or 4 years to write 1 copy. This is the knowledge that they're hoarding down there inside the Vatican. Incredible amounts of knowledge. And there's hundreds of thousands of books down there, along with many other incredible things that, you know, I don't know when they're going to be released or come out or whatever. But yeah, so I really do believe that it was a collaboration, and through this collaboration, the Arabs, which got to take over that region, that land, and move in over there, you know, in exchange for the knowledge that was taken away. And so the knowledge was taken away, the majority of it, maybe, you know, maybe 30,000 books burned or some small number like that. But the majority of the stuff was taken out of the back door. I think that you'll find a lot of it in the basement at the Vatican. And that's where a lot of it's located right now.
You think the Vatican slowly releases some of this knowledge through movies as entertainment, disguised as entertainment?
It's very possible. You know, a lot of these high-end people, these A-listers, super A-listers, these big producers and movie directors, these multimillionaires and billionaires, they have a lot of influence with people. So it's a very high potential that they could get access to some of the information through private conversations, even on the phone or by visits, and then turn that stuff into movies and documentaries and stuff like that. You know, overall, there's so much stuff being hoarded down there in order to keep people locked into religion. Because if that stuff were ever to get out, if that information was ever to get out, religion would collapse within just a matter of a few months. Once the word got around what it was and it was verified, and people started to analyze the content and not only of the books, but what else they have hidden down there, I think that religion would literally collapse. And that's a multi-trillion-dollar control system that they don't want to see go away. So because of that, the best way to keep the people in line is to hoard the knowledge, because the knowledge is power. Hoard it, hide it, suppress it, keep them only focusing on this one book in this one direction. Tell them everything else outside of that is evil and they were going to die in a lake of fire. And now you've got them programmed generation after generation to basically be ignorant and live a life of ignorance until they pass away, and then they come and get recycled and come right back again.
Man, when you think about it, man, that's crazy, man. How they got all that locked up in the Vatican. That's crazy, man.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So,
one day it's going to crash. And one day we're going to get in there, man, and get that stuff out. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I'm going to put it out there. Yeah, we definitely going to get in there one day. We definitely going to get in there and get that. Somehow it's going to get released. And we're going to figure all this in. I mean, wow. I just said, wow. Like I said, them pictures, I'm still thinking about them pictures. I can't wait, man, till you release it on your network, man. That's going to be
Yeah, it's going to be powerful. And then I have another documentary coming out. I'm going to go back to Egypt again and film the second documentary because of the economic conditions and the poverty that's there. Yeah. And how to have those people stuck. They're trapped there. They can't leave. They're trapped in those conditions. They can't even get out of there to try to become better. And they don't have any economics. They don't even have real estate there. You can't even, there's no real estate market. So there's nobody building anything new. Everything's collapsing and everything's going to continue to collapse. So I'm doing a documentary called Living in the Shadow of the Pyramids. I've already started writing it and framing it. But man, it's heart-wrenching. I'm telling you, it's really heart-wrenching. Whoever goes with me next year, they're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. You see these magnificent megalithic structures in the background. And you see people living in collapsed, bricks that are only about 4 inches by 10 inches. They can't even stand the test of time. They can't even stand it for a month or two. They're collapsed structures all over the place. It's scary.
Man, let's take 2 questions, then we get out of here. You got enough time for 2 questions, Billy?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right, let's take 2 questions. I'm gonna take 2 questions. Woo! Got to exhale on that one, family. That was some amazing stuff, y'all. All of it's gonna be available on Forbidden Knowledge TV within a couple of months. Stay tuned. This brother's about to super blow up, so you might want to buy some shares in his company. Discovery, National Geographic, they're gonna be hating on you, Billy. They're gonna be like, man.
They're gonna want to license some of my material. They're gonna want because they've contacted me before not them directly, but their producers that sell to them, that get them, the shows. Yeah. They'll contact me and ask me for licensed content, which I've done before. I've done some licensing content, which that helps. It pays for the trip if you license a couple things. But this stuff, I think I'm going to keep it exclusive this time. Yeah, that's right. That's what's up. You hear that? Exclusive. That's what's up, man. This is some powerful stuff. What I have on my hands right now, powerful stuff, man. Super powerful. I backed it up 3 times to make sure I had everything.
Let me ask. They want to know how can they buy shares. I'm gonna post the link right now.
Okay.
It's already in the description, but I'm gonna post it in the chat right now, family. It's in the chat if you are interested. Thanks everybody who's donating. I appreciate it. All right. I just got a Bitcoin donation. Thank you.
Wow. Nice.
KSI Highlight International Barber Newer. I think I'm mispronouncing that, but thanks for the Bitcoin donation. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just posted the link in the chat for those who are interested in buying shares. We see where this man is going. We see where this company is going. So it's like getting in on Apple when Apple first started, or Bitcoin or whatever. But dope. Let's get to 2 questions, family. Then we get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand. Is there a meeting place for all universal beings?
For all, I don't know if there's a meeting for all, but through internal channels and some of the meetings that I've been in, with the tech companies. I have a tech company in private space, which gave me private access or top secret access. They call it TS access to private space and the Space Symposium. And in those inner talks with those executives of these major corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations, there's an understanding that there is a federation that exists. And this federation is out there watching and monitoring different star systems. Do they interact directly on an aggressive level, like directly engage? They don't, because they have this protocol where they don't engage, but they watch and they monitor. And they do have some level of control where if other peoples from other places, supposedly, this is not me saying, this is what I've heard, if they try to do something to dominate or take over or steal a planet, then they will engage them and let them know that they're violating protocols. Supposedly, it rarely happens, but they're watching Earth specifically to see how we're going to develop and if we're going to grow up. They're waiting for us to actually grow up and mature as a civilization. And the key behind that to me is, look, there's 7.8 billion people on Earth, and we're only being controlled by less than 100 people. So we're letting less than 100 people tell us what we hear, smell, think, feel, touch, taste, what we experience, where we can and can't go, what we can do and can't do with our bodies. And so they're looking at us going, they're not ready yet. They're not ready yet. We're still crawling. They need to learn how to walk. And so we're in that process of getting up and from this crawl and starting to learn how to walk. So even as we start to learn how to walk, we got to remember, even when a baby takes its first steps, the baby will fall down a couple times. The baby has to fall and learn how to get that right balance back and then fall again. So sometimes it's going to look like we're doing good and we're not doing that good, but you don't lose hope because it's just a process. Walking is a series of controlled falls. And so we have to learn how to do that as well, control our falls. That's why I study ancient civilizations, so I can understand how we fell down in the past and how can we possibly prevent that going into the future. You know, so that's what it's really all about. But I do believe that they're out there. They are watching.
Okay. Angelo wants to know what language are the books in the Vatican written in?
Oh, they're written in all languages. The Vatican houses languages from Celtic, Sumerian, runes, Aramaic, what do you call it? Babylonian, of course, Kemetic, Egyptian, you name it. I mean, I go around Syrian, Assyrian, Chinese, I mean, just go around the globe. You have everything in there. All of that's in there. Tibetan is in there. I mean, everything's in there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get one last one in. I just want to get one last question in, and then we're gonna get out of here. Did Billy hear about the new quantum discovery of time crystals?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I have a blog coming out about that actually tomorrow.
What's that about?
These time crystals are discovered. These time crystals have the capability of phase shifting in time. And what's ironic is there's an episode on Star Trek Discovery, which is one of my favorite series that I ever watched. I think it's in season 3, or maybe 2. I think maybe season 2, where they discover these time crystals. They discover these time crystals on the planet of Krypton or Klingon, the Klingon homeworld, wherever that's located. I forget now. But anyway, they go there and they get these time crystals, and when you touch it, you can see your future right away, almost instantaneously. So you don't touch them because you may not like what you're going to see. Mm-hmm. But these time crystals have been discovered. They discovered a couple different kind of crystals as well. So the crystals that have the capability of manipulating or moving back and forth in time energetically. And also they're trying to figure out how to harness that power. They also discovered something or created something called a quasi-crystal, an 8th-dimensional quasi-crystal, which has now been created in a laboratory, where they can see now how a quasi-crystal, 8th-dimensional quasi-crystal can cast a shadow from the 8th dimension into the 3rd dimension and create a universe. So this is a lot of great stuff. A lot of great finds and discoveries are coming out right now that's going to blow people's minds. Amazing stuff.
I'm here for it, man. This is the time for that. This is the time for that. Oh, yeah. Well, family, I want to thank, man, we still got about 1,500 people in the room. I want to thank all of y'all for tuning in. An amazing show. Billy, man, I want to thank you for giving us some exclusive today, man.
Appreciate it, man. I got you. I got you, man. Appreciate it.
Indeed. Before you get out here, leave the people all the information they need to get in touch with you and everything you got coming up, my brother.
Yeah, don't forget right now we have the shares available. I'm trying to build millionaires. I want to be able to go, I want to be able to go to a group of people and say, hey, there's 500 acres over here. Let's partner up together and go buy this land. But I can't do it if I'm the only person with the money. That's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to find a way to give back and at the same time keep rising. Okay, this is the idea that I came up with. So go to forbiddenKnowledge.com/invest. Or go to the link here that Brother Rich dropped in the chat. Take you right to the True Crowd platform. You can read all the documentation there. You can download the whole prospectus. It's about 130 pages. It's all done by CPAs and attorneys, not me. The valuation and all that's third party done. It's not done by me. The valuation of the company is $20 million, ground floor opportunity. The shares are only $1. But the thing is, it's only 1,070,000 shares available to the public. So you have to get them now before round 2 starts, because when round 2 starts, then it's going to be a premium. They're going to be worth more money. So it's a process. But if you hold on to these, potentially in the future, it could be a great exit for you. You could have something here that can help build some legacy for you. And of course, you want to go to forbiddenknowledge.com, find out all about my, everything I got going on, workshops, lectures, conferences, and everything else is on forbiddenknowledge.com.
Okay, family, with that being said, this is Brother Rich. We getting out of here. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.